Hello everyone, I'm Coyote Jack. I'm well, Sony tr- trying to not destroy the internet challenge impossible. They want to destroy it, so hello again, Coyote Jack, and the argument for cutting off internet for repeated piracy. Sony Music and more say the law's clear, no Supreme Court intervention necessary. So let's see what we have with this headline, man. So several music labels under the Universal Music Group, Warner Music Group, and Sony Group have asked the Supreme Court to deny a petition from major internet service providers (ISP) Greenlight Communication Networks, which seeks the court interventions after it was ordered to pay 46.8 million in damages for contributory copyright infringement. Oh, you want to blame the provider of one service that connect with everyone. Look, it's like if this fucking corpus just because you played a song that they allegedly own, despite that you already have it on your phone for whatever it means. Whenever you pay for it, you are playing on Spotify, whatnot, while you are on a phone call. They say, yeah, they need to sue the phone company for the damages. At that point, what I say sounds pretty stupid, right? Yeah, that's the kind of shit they are just putting out here. Oh, the users are the ones that are actually going through the internet and getting out that content. Well, let's you attack the ISP provider. They need to pay for us. This is the fucking mafia in a nutshell. This is how mafia works, and this is the oldest meme in the world because we have seen that that meme it keeps remaining truth. So continue on. So this settlement from the not terminating for not terminating customers who repeatedly engage in copyright infringement related to music downloads. So you want to put a tracker of every single one of them, and they want to push this 1984 dystopia, and you can bet on at 1.1 politician within the US that is salivating for power. They are going to love that. They are going to push for it. So the level fees brought a lawsuit against Grandi, in 2017. Per revealed emails, Grande was frequently informed of subscribers who were regularly pirating content, and despite having previously done so, adopted a new policy of never terminating subscribers for copyright infringements. At the end of the day, how even you are going to check on that user just because the way how they surf on the internet? They don't want a free internet, man. This is fucking disgusting. They are irrelevant nowadays because even if the content they produce now is dog shit. Look how even what kind of fucking tendencies they push on with these N words, Nicki Minaj songs, and then they say, oh yeah, rock metal now is not what should be now nowadays. Just remind me even when mod from the modern AAA slab, they love to push these jazz ghetto songs every single time, and they don't put any sort of decency or at least a rock alternative song. Now they want to push this slab. I already said, along since Sony owns most of the anime monopoly for the West, they they want this. They want to have the control of everyone around the world with these movements. So the jury for the case sided with the music labels and Grande appealed the Court of Appeals for the Fifth Court Circuit in March 2023, where it again lost. Its bid to have entire appeals court hear the case in bank was also denied. So the jury was bored, man, because hey, at the end of the day, what they are going to do? In fact, they what they hit the most is where some server hoster provides the service, and that server is being used to host that that content that allegedly got pirated. So they can easily target the person, check the domain who's the owner, and do the properly suing. But since they lose a lot of money because they take down one and two more come out like the Hydra. So they will want to attack the body, but well, that body, well, I want that body to survive because it also affects me. So at that point, it's even insane. Look at this, even while I'm opening this website, look at all the track record of ads and trackers are just roaming here. For one example, with YouTube, it gets more than 200 until the tab crash, and they want to push these trackers more and more and more. That's why they are also against ad blockers. And Sony is just once again trying to destroy the internet. So let's continue on with this outcome. So on March 6th of current year, Grande asked for the Supreme Court to weigh in, where it pleaded an impracticality, unfairness, and legal inconsistency with being held liable for damages and terminating subscribers' internet connections for repeated copyright infringements. The music label responded on May 9 of current year, taking on several of Grande arguments. Grande accuses the labels of demanding that it terminate customers' accounts after being made aware that the customer has offended twice. But how do you know that, honestly? How do you check that customer? Or even, how do you know if you know it is the customer, what if he lives in an apartment and they have to share the Wi-Fi with anyone in that building? You, when it comes to most obvious issues that they want to take on this, yeah, these fucking group labels, they don't have any sort of argument and opinion on this one. This lawsuit should have been dismissed a long time ago. To continue on, making them repeat infringer characterizers. This is a terminating quote-unquote connections prematurely in response to two unsustained allegations of infringements. Allegations, no factual evidence there. And a quote-unquote staggering penalty of a $2 harm. This level said that they are not interested in throwing infringement that slips through the cracks, but rampant infringements that ISPs like Grande were found to have ignored. And what is their business? You mocking more? Oh, they ignored that those users were doing this piracy. And why don't you go after the individual, to the guy that you actually have evidence individually? All right, it's because it costs you a lot of fucking money just to prove it. Jesus Christ, these fucking corporations, man. Have ignored by not having a policy to prevent it, and why they should have a policy to prevent that when in the first place they are just a service. Look, if someone do something like, yeah, do some troll calls or actually threatening calls with the service, with the phone company, you are going to sue the phone company or you're going after the guy that said that shit? I think the response is very obvious in this situation. But they don't want that because it's power and control. So they gave examples of 40 customers that surpassed 1,000 infringements and one that passed 14,000. And they haven't shared how they did that because if they do it and it fills out of this court, many of the people that know within IT, networking engineers, they full well that those are going to answer, yeah, these companies are full of shit, they're just making shit up. So while the Supreme Court has opined on contributory copyright infringements case before, none have specifically related to an ISP provisions of Internet services. The level says that this isn't necessary, as the Digital Millennium Copyright Act (DMCA) has long existed and protects ISPs from liability, assuming they have quote-unquote adopted and reasonably implemented and inform subscribers and account holders of the service provider system or network of a policy that provides for the termination in appropriate circumstances of subscribers and account holders of the service provider systems or network who are repeat infringers. So with the NCA, you already have seen how it's dog shit. And ISPs, they are not the ones enforcing that. It's, for example, YouTube. And you know how the NCA can be easily abused. Just like the Pahits from India always steal content and then say content just because the owner of one channel doesn't is not there anymore for whatever reason, then they replace the content. Somehow they bought boost that video with that stolen content, and then the NCA, anyone else, if they try to share like any sort of that. For example, me, free copyrighted music. I have seen one guy. I think it's that one Colombian guy, Bancho, one content creator I follow within Latin America. He got hit by because one fucking packet uploaded a stolen song, and just because the owner of say channel is not around there anymore, well, they abused the DMCA, and this and well, the ISP is just washing themselves their hands themselves. Hey, the NCA, well, they wants to actually care for traditions first. That why it is our problem when we are just providing an internet service. So perhaps most notably the labels plus the Fifth Circuit Court disagree with Grande on the interpretation of a previous Supreme Court opinion involving contributory copyright infringement. They need to remake the copyright laws because they are destroying creativity and progress because this legacy corpus, they are just so fucking leeches there. Continue on. MGM it's versus Rockstar. It found that a service provider was not necessarily liable for copyright infringements just because its service could be used for copyright infringement. Rockstar wasn't the one that got destroyed by Metallica. I could be wrong with that one. It also has substantial other non-infringement uses. Nevertheless, the Supreme Court added that service providers' failure to develop any mechanism to stop infringing activity could act as additional evidence of wrongdoing, given some other evidence. This is just fucking bullshit, man. So with this shit show, yeah, they want to destroy the internet. This if they succeed, you just got to set a bad precedent. Because, well, imagine you are also playing one of those copyrighted songs on these platforms that have the NCA at all times open. They're going to blame you, and just because of that, they are going to punish you just for watching. This is not for the ones that they say, oh, activities. It's not because you are downloading it. It's just because not because you are sharing it with zip files across other storage hosters there on the internet, on the cloud services, is because you are watching it. That's why they are going after this ISP so hard. Because you encounter one of those and you are watching it, yeah, they're going to make you. They want to punish you for that. No. If the Supreme Court actually stands by those group labels, yeah, the US is going to get into a very bad precedent there. Because, well, you know how even the internet nowadays is just getting restrictive. Anyway, thanks for watching and please take care.